Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast number 1564. The topic is mindset and the title is Active Patience Revisited. So I've talked on active patience before. However, it came up again with a client and I wanted to just touch on it again. So the past podcast was 1434. It was a mindset podcast titled Active Patience, and that was back in September 19th of 2022. So not too long ago, but long ago enough, there we go, that it might be worth, or at least I hope it's worth, revisiting. So I wanted to touch on it, and specific to a client's struggles, and then let's expand from there. So the big thing I wanted to get across is that being patient doesn't mean you're not being active. People think patience is passive, and it's not. Oh my gosh, it is anything but. Being patient is the complete opposite of being passive. Completely opposite. And I talk about that with clients all the time, so I wanted to kind of give an example. So I have one client. He's struggling because he wants to gain more muscle, but he also wants to be leaner. So he wants to eat a bunch of food to try to gain as much muscle as possible, but he also wants to be in a caloric deficit to promote fat loss. And those two things don't happen at the exact same time. Now, that's like in the second of the day. You can do it within parts of the day, which is exactly what we are doing. So he is getting bigger. He is getting leaner, but he wants to know if he can do it more. And that's the patience part. So I want to read through the response I gave him, and then let's have a little discussion. So I wrote, the balance that we're wanting to find is, given your life schedule and demands, how often and for how long can you train per week? How much training do we believe your body can recover from between workouts without falling behind on healing joints? How much protein can we convert over to muscle tissue without adding additional calories that contribute to body fat? So, how much can we train? How much can you genetically recover between training? And how much genetically can you convert protein to muscle tissue? And right now, I think we're at that balance. I think if we eat more, you'll gain unwanted body fat, and that'll be very negative mentally. I think you're progressing as fast as your genetics will allow us at the moment. Getting photos every 4 weeks helps, so I can continue to see the rate of progress. So I thanked him for sending the photos. So that's something we do, is it helps him to have my eyes look at his physique every 4 weeks and say, yes, this area, I can circle it on a photo and send it to him and say, this area, you're growing in, this area, you're not. No, that actually doesn't even happen. So actually it grows really well. So he's over in the UK, so we use WhatsApp to communicate back and forth. And he'll send me videos. I talk about, videos for exercises and photos. And then I say, what do I see in the videos for technique? What do I see in the photos for, our chest width is growing. He has really good thickness to the width of his chest. And we're getting maybe, better kind of shoulder development. But maybe we need more mid-back development. Maybe we could use a little more outer thighs. Maybe we could, work on blah, 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 blah. So every time he sends photos, I send him my thoughts and what I see. And then him getting to see what I see through my eyes helps him then better understand what progress he's making. So when we tend to look at ourselves, and I even do this when I look at photos of myself, I'm just a fat piece of crap. So I don't see progress as much as I see all of the things that are not progressing. So everybody's brain does that to themselves. So it's helpful to have someone else's brain look at yourself. So when I look at clients' photos, I very easily can see, in a half a second, I'm like, oh, this, boom, boom, boom. And I can tell them what changes. I struggle when I look at myself, but I think we all do. We all want everything, and we want it now. And when we don't get it, we're just frustrated, and we just see the things that aren't changing. So what I was talking with him about is you're doing the best you can do. We just have to continue to do it. And that's the challenge. That's the rub when it comes to patience. You have to do what you're already doing. You have to do it every damn day, as perfect as possible, and you have to do it for a long time. That's how you become successful. It's not passive. It's the complete opposite of passive. Being patient doesn't mean you're not active or you're being inactive or, you're not aggressive, or it's somehow like people sometimes get connected with patience with passiveness. And it's like, it's the complete opposite. Patience is being as active as freaking possible all damn day, every damn day until you get what you want. There's nothing you can do more. There's nothing you'd want to do different. You just have to do what you're already doing and do it until you get what you want. That is freaking hard. Hard. Do every possible thing within your control in every possible moment and do it until you get what you want. That is tough. Patience is not a passive activity. Patience is very active. Do everything you can and do it every single damn day. So when I talk with people sometimes, and we get kind of this mindset around like patience, and they think they struggle with patience, and it leads to thinking that patience is passive. It leads to people doing little because they're like, what's the point? It's not working. I might as well not even try. It's like, oh, it was working if you kept doing it. So patience if people struggling with patience, it can lead to inactivity, which leads to little or no results. Or it leads to super frustration because they're constantly changing every damn thing they're doing, and they're actually getting nowhere. They're just going in circles. So people struggle with patience doing nothing, or people struggle with patience by doing too much stupid crap and changing it all the time. Whenever really what patience is one, you have to do. You have to be active. Number two, you have to do it consistently. So you have to maintain your actions. And number three, you have to do it consistently for a long freaking time. You have to maintain your actions sustained with the rest of life. If you want to be successful, you have to learn to ask, what's the most I can do while doing everything else? That's it. It's both parts of that question. What's the most I can do while doing everything else? That's how you become successful. You can't drop everything else in your life and sustain what you need to do for your goal until you get your goal. Otherwise, if you do that, you're going to lose all of the elements of everything else of your life. And then once you reach your goal, what are you going to do? You're going to add that stuff back in and then lose your goal? So you have to find the balance between that. What's the most I can do while doing everything else? And what that is for you is different. It's different for every single freaking person I work with. If I have a single college student, like they're not in a relationship or like, not in marriage. So they're just, maybe they have a friend, quote unquote, and they're a college student. You can do everything. You can eat, breathe, and sleep your goal. Now, I worked while I was in college. I took 18 to 20 credits every semester. I had a part-time job, usually one or two. So I do understand that you're going to feel overwhelmed and stressed. But really, that is, you're talking about that's going to be the time of your life where you can really devote a lot of free time towards goals. So it's kind of like if you're a teenager listening to this, my teenagers that I work with, you better, like, this is the time. Oh, this is it, crush it. Learn discipline, learn willpower, eat, breathe, and sleep your goals, dive into it. As you become older as an adult, and you have more things that are dependent on you, whether that's humans or just mortgage and house bills and car insurance and whatever the other bull crap that comes when you're an adult, as you become further into adulthood, it becomes harder and harder because there's less extra time. You get more crap that you have to attend to. You have no choice. You have to. So when you're younger, you can eat, breathe, and sleep that goal. If you're a working adult with dependents, you have to find whatever you can do in the mix of everything else you have to do. So I've talked about it before, I'm going to do a real fast version, is if you want to fill a jar with rocks, pebbles, and sand, okay, there's a long story, I'm going to shorten it up real fast. So a teacher had, 3 big rocks, couple pebbles, like maybe, 5, 6 pebbles in a little jar of sand, little bowl of sand. And he asked the students, can you fit all this in this bigger jar? So he had a real big jar, and he's like, I want you to put the rocks, the pebbles, and the sand in the jar. So one student pours in the sand, they pour in the pebbles, and they can only fit one rock. And they're like, crap, I can't fit the other rocks. So another student's like, oh, I got it. So he puts in the rocks, and then he pours the sand in, and then he can't fit all the pebbles. It's like, dang, So the teacher shows him. He says, well, you have to put in the big things first. You put in the rocks. Then you put in the pebbles. And then you pour the sand, and the sand fills in the cracks. That is your life as an adult. You're living in the sand. That's what it is. So you want to set up a few rocks for your day that you do every day. Whether that's you wake up 30 minutes before everybody and you get cardio, or you do yoga, or you just read a book, or for the love of God, you just get to do something without somebody else yapping at you. You get 30 minutes yourself, whether that's in the morning, midday, in the evening. Whatever you find time to work on your goals. You schedule a workout and you try to get it at most days of the week. You think, okay, I'm going to make my food this way. I'm going to organize things this way throughout the day so I can do what I need to do. You think, what's the most I can do while doing everything else? That's your rocks. So you plan for your rocks. Then you have to sprinkle in the pebbles and sand when you can. So it's important to know the difference between the rocks, the pebbles, and the sand. Podcast 1232. I tell you step by step what's the most important things for nutrition. I tell you what the rocks are, then what the pebbles and what's the sand. When it comes to training, freaking move. Just get it in. Whether it's 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, whether it's an hour in the gym, just freaking move. That's your rock. Just get moving. Move your butt, every day. So understanding what are the big things that you have to do every day. Plan those into your day. Schedule the resources, the time, the energy, the money, whatever it might be, to get those done. And then you have to know, okay, if I have extra resources, if I have extra time, what are my pebbles and my sand? What are they? How long do they take? So I might be like, hey, you know what? I got a workout in today, but I wonder if later on maybe I can get a 10-minute walk in. That's like a pebble or a sand. Just a little something that I might be able to get in the extra. So it's helpful to know what your rocks, your pebbles, and your sand. Plan and schedule your rocks. And then for the pebbles and the sand, know what they are, know how long they take, and then identify possible situations you can get them in. So for example, if I'm cooking food, can I listen to an audiobook that day? That might be nice. Listen to a self-help audiobook or business audiobook or something that's interesting to you while you cook some food. If there's no one to chat to, if you're cooking by yourself, get something else for it. Listen to an audiobook, maybe while you're doing laundry, doing dishes. So think about, okay, where are some things I can sprinkle in some extra stuff for myself? That's the game. That's it. If you want to be successful, that's it. What's the most I can do while doing everything else? Patience, when we talk about being patient, when I talk about that with clients, it's not passive. It's the most freaking active thing you will do in your life. So if you want better patience and you want to be successful, that's the question you ask yourself. What's the most I can do while doing everything else? How do we do that? Well, know the difference between rocks, pebbles, and sand. Plan for and schedule the rocks. Build everything else around them. Then know the list of the pebbles and the sand, where they might fit, how long they take, and actually like what they are. What are those little extra things that you might be able to do that make a difference? You make a system. You track your efforts. You identify and correct mishaps and mistakes. That's it. That is Patience 101. That is Success 101. That's it. So patience is the most active thing you will do. Do every damn thing you can do within your control every damn day until you get what you want. That's patience. Being consistent in action is patience. Now, we have podcast 817, which is a mindset podcast titled Task Management, Priority Ranking Methods. Check out that podcast on our website, www.brutaleenergym.com. We have all the podcasts on there and directions on how to find older ones. That is the podcast that'll teach you the difference between rocks, pebbles, and sand. Okay? So podcast 817, Mindset, Task Management, Priority Ranking Methods. That will teach you what are your rocks, what are your pebbles, what are your sand. Then you want to create a system, build it around that, and then be super freaking consistent with it. Every damn day, whatever's within your control, control it. If something feels outside of your control, try to figure out if you can control it. If something messes up, figure it out. But that's it. Okay. We also have help. So if you wanna have me help you, you don't need to. listen to podcast 817. You can do it on your own. But if you don't have the time and or you would like help, we do offer help. So we have our one-on-one coaching services. Full service is where I write your training and nutrition for you, and I teach you how to blend it into your life. I teach you how to blend healthy eating as your rocks, pebbles, and sand, training as your rocks, pebbles, and sand. I teach everyone how to blend it into their life, not only just give you the program. So this is full service. I literally tell you how to build this stuff into your lifestyle. We have that service, and then the nutrition only is $100 a month. So the full service training and nutrition is $200 a month. The nutrition is $100 only. You can learn more about our services on our website, www.brutalirongym.com. So if you want help and guidance, it's there. If you want to do it for free, 100% it's there, podcast 817. So that is the recipe for success. What's the most I can do while doing everything else? Okay, good luck. If you have any questions, feedback, suggestions, anything you want to know, let us know at our email, brutalirongym@gmail.com. If you like our podcast, please share it. When you share the podcast, let people know that we answer questions for free. So they can send in any question. We'll answer it for free. That gets them listening to the podcast, and it gets more people visiting the podcast on a daily basis. So thank you to those who share the podcast. It does help. Also, thank you to those who donate to support the podcast. The podcast has a high hosting cost every year. I give an hour to it every day. You can donate on our website. Even like one-time donations, even a $5 a month donation, anything is very helpful and very appreciated. If you like the podcast and you want to find more information from us, I do post different and unique information on our Instagram page every single day and on YouTube pretty often. So find us and follow us under the name Brutal Iron Gym. As always, I hope this was helpful. And thank you for listening.